Why don't we jump in and well, let's keep on the Red Bull vibe, okay? Let's start with the New York Red Bulls currently sitting in fourth place after a draw last night and an Orlando loss puts them back in fourth place with 44 points and a relatively tough stretch to finish out here. They've got New York City at home, Toronto away, Atlanta away, and finishing up with Columbus at home. The way we usually do this, guys, is we're just going to come in and we're going to say we've got these four games. This is how we see it's going to go. If we, want to explain about it a little bit, we can. I'm sure we'll disagree on a lot of things, but at the end, we're gonna have a table of what we think the final table is going to look like, and we will be able to predict the MLS playoff picture. So I'll let you go first. Give me your four-game run. How does Red Bull finish out their season?
All right, I've got a draw against NYC. I've got a win at Toronto. I've got a win at Atlanta, and I've got a loss against Columbus. So I've got them getting 7 points out of the last four games for them.
No, I'm very, very similar with you. I've got a draw at New York City, or I got a draw against New York City at home, beating Toronto on the road. I have a draw at Atlanta, though I don't hate the shout for a win after watching that game last night. It just hurt that we couldn't figure it out. And then I also have a loss at Columbus. But what I will say is the return of Emil Forsberg is going to be huge for this team. Now, I can't have nice things, so I will not put them on any more points than five. But I would agree with you that there is a very good chance this team makes the playoffs. Dante Van Zier finally scoring goals again. Great look. Felipe Carballo looked really good last night outside of the penalty he gave away. I thought that was his best showing as a Red Bull. Ronald Doncourt has come out in the midfield really well. Peter Stroud is returning back from injury. We're getting players back at the right time. It's just, can we get them up quickly enough? New York City, I think, is a draw kind of in the same vein that we've done over the last couple. Like, they won't be any better than us, and they are missing a couple of key players. Santi Rodriguez out for that game, and one of their center backs out for that game. But I feel like we just won't take that opportunity because it doesn't have the same bite as it did in the past. Toronto FC, I think, man, they're just underwhelming me, and we'll talk about them when we get there. I mentioned the draw at Atlanta. I think kind of the same vibe. The energy will be high, knowing that this is a team that is still pushing for the playoffs at that point. And then I don't think anybody's beating Columbus. I think they're just too good.
That's fair.
All right, so you've got them on seven. I've got them on five. I'm going to send it over to you for Orlando, who's got Dallas away, the one of the few Western Conference trips left. Philly at home, FC Cincinnati away, and Atlanta at home to finish the year. What do you got?
I've got a draw at Dallas. I've got a win at home against Philly. I've got a draw at FCC, and then I see them losing to Atlanta on the last day because we own Orlando.
Yeah, that seems a little bit emotionally
No
charged.
bias in that whatsoever.
So what's the total points there?
So I've got them getting 5 points out of the last four.
Five. Interesting. I have a win at Dallas, a win at Philly, a loss at FCC, and a draw at Atlanta. So give me some thoughts on why you've picked what you've picked.
I think at Dallas is going to be a little bit of a tough game for them. I think Dallas is a weird team as to like when they show up or don't show up. So I'm kind of just hedging my bet there with a draw. I think at home, they're the better team than Philly right now, and the home advantage will be helpful in them getting a win there. At FCC, I'm not wowed with this current FCC team, especially I was I mean, I guess a little bit defensively. They've still been pretty good, but I think Orlando's been very strong in the attack. They're in a good run of form. So I think they can get a result out of that game. And then the game against Atlanta, at that point, I'm not sure if there's anything really for them to play for. I mean, potentially, I think there could be, but that's obviously a big rivalry game. Like Atlanta may also have nothing to play for at that point, but I think because it's a rivalry game, they'll try to show up regardless. And even poor Atlanta teams, I think, have had good moments against Orlando. So I'm kind of banking on that with like one last little hurrah that they can give to the fans before trying to reset for next season.
Interesting. Yeah. So I don't like this Dallas team. I watched them play yesterday a little bit, and man, they were just so mid. And I think Orlando's firing on good cylinders right now. I think they are clicking at the right moments and they're getting the right people involved at the right times, I think they get a good result at Dallas, even though it's an away trip and it's a tough one. I think they get a result there. Philly's in the same kind of boat where they were getting hot at the right time, picking up some big results, but there's just something about them that I don't love, and I think Orlando kind of knocks them back down to earth a little bit. I think FCC away is a tough place to play, especially when they've got all their players kind of firing on the way that they're playing. Um, it'll all be dependent on how they line up and which Lucho shows up. Because if MVP Lucho shows up, it's over. If walk around and throw my hands up in the air and cry Lucho shows up, they've got a chance. But I think playing at FCC is going to be tough. And then the draw at Atlanta, rivalry game. I think it's going to be a tough battle, and I could see them winning that game because that Atlanta team is. If I had to guess, I think that Atlanta team's out of the playoffs by that point, and it's a sort of all right, we'll just focus up for next year type of thing. But I'll give a draw just because even though it is the last one, it'll still be a little bit of a rivalry game. So I've got them on 7 points. You've got them on five, which is the flip from the Red Bull before.
It is indeed.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll be even on this next one here with New York City. They're taking two teams out to the ballpark and they're playing on two real soccer fields. They've got Red Bull away, FCC at home, Nashville at home, and Montreal away. And I've got a puppy.
You've also got the wrong order because Charlotte is ahead of NYC now.
So this was made before the
It's fine. We can go with whatever order. I don't
yeah,
really.
yeah. This was made before the switch, and they're on the same amount of points. That's just a goal differential thing.
Yep.
So I'll jump in here first and say that as mentioned, we've got the draw at Red Bull, right? I've got a draw with FCC coming to town. I've got them beating Nashville, and I've got a draw at Montreal. So I've got three draws and a win, giving them 6 points to finish out the year. We talked about the Red Bull one already. I meant, FCC is still going to play them hard. They always do when they're at the baseball stadium. Um, I think they can pull a result out of that. Nashville, I think, is going to be a win for them. I think they're getting better, but I don't love that matchup away from home. Playing at the baseball stadium, I don't love that matchup for Nashville. Traveling to Montreal is always tough. It's a really tough place to play. I think they can nick a point out of it though.
Remember that question you asked at the start of this segment?
Can we be equal? And you're going to tell me, yes, we can, because we are exactly the same, because you love copying me.
We are so exactly the same that we have the same results for the same games. I've
I
also
love it.
got draw Red Bull, draw FCC, win at or win against Nashville, and then draw against Montreal as well. Pretty much for what you said. So I don't really have much to add on that.
Yeah. Well, listen, that makes it easy because now we don't have to spend time talking about it and we can just move straight on to Charlotte, who
Let's
have to
match again.
go
Let's
to
go.
Match again. We
Let's
got to
match
go to
again.
Charlotte. We got to take Charlotte and put them in Miami. They host Chicago, host Montreal, then they go to DC. What do you have as their results?
I've got a loss at Miami. I have a win at home against Chicago, a win at home against Montreal, and a draw at DC to round things out. So 7 points for me for them in their last four.
Connor. Can you explain why you've made those decisions?
Sure. So Miami's best team in the league. That's always going to be difficult, especially going to Miami. Messi's back as well. Very uphill battle for them. I don't think they get a result out of that one. Chicago suck, and Charlotte's at home, so that's just going to be a win.
Damn. Tell us how you really feel.
I mean, Chicago's lost four of their last five, so that I'm just being honest. They
But
suck.
Tom Barlow scored a goal.
He's not playing Red Bull every game. He only scores against Red Bull.
Dante
Um,
Venzer only scores against Atlanta. Get in.
there you go. At home against Montreal, I think they're the better team. I think they'll take the win with the home advantage as well. And then at DC, I think they're a little bit better of a team than DC, but because DC is at home, I think it kind of evens out, and so I see a draw there to end things off.
Connor. This is why I'm in charge. because we have yet again matched perfectly.
Which
Miami
is good
away.
news.
So here's the problem, right? The only problem that I have with what you said was in your very first statement, you said Miami is the best team in the league. And that was a really weird way to
Here
pronounce
we
Red
go.
Bull because I won't stand for that slander when Dante Van Zier is scoring goals. You know, if Dante Van Zier scores more goals, he might actually equal Messi's record right now. That's crazy. Like he is on path to level and pass Lionel Messi. He only needs like
On what
15 more.
path? What
He only
path
needs
is this?
15 more goals.
Only 15 more.
No, I agree with you on the Miami shout. Chicago, I think you're being harsh, but not harsh enough. They're really bad. Montreal, I agree with you there. I think it's close, but they pull it out defensively. I think they win that game defensively. And DC, just one of those freak kind of things. They've dropped points against bad teams in the last couple of games. I think DC is kind of in that same boat.
Go team. 3 for 3. Let's go.
Speaking speaking of bad team, no, we're 2 for 2.
And no, we're gonna make it
Oh,
three
you
for three
want to
right
be
now.
3 for 3? That's wild. Well, I was pretty harsh here, so we'll see how this goes. With Toronto FC, and I mentioned a little bit about them already. They got to go to Colorado, another Western away trip. They got to go to Chicago. They then come over to New Jersey to play Red Bull, and they have to play Miami at home. I'm sorry, they are playing Red Bull at home and Miami at home. So two away trips, two home trips. This is not going to be a fun end of the season for Toronto. They've got the team leading the supporter shield race, the team that should be leading the supporter shield race, and then a team who is coached by somebody who's won the supporter shield race, and Chicago. Um, I've got them. I've got them losing at Colorado, who is firing on all cylinders right now. I've got a draw at Chicago because it just feels like Chicago's got to pick up at least 1 point, right? I've already talked about how I think Red Bull picks up a win, and I don't see them beating Miami. I see them getting 1 point out of these last 4 games.
Hey, buddy, we're 3 for 3.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. I've
That's
got the
funny.
same thing. Yeah, I mean, you kind of said most of it already, but yeah, I think Colorado's in good form. At Colorado is going to be hard enough as is. I agree. I think like there's no way Chicago. I just don't think Chicago goes winless as bad as they are. And I think with the home game against a team like Toronto, they can get a result. I don't think they're beating Red Bull. I think Red Bull will still have stuff to play for at that point, even if it's just like a home playoff game. Well, I guess it's home and away, but I guess you'd still play for the home advantage in 2 out of 3.
Yep.
And then, yeah, they're just, I don't see any way they're beating Miami unless Miami just throws out a fully rotated team just to preserve people. But even then, I think they could still potentially beat Toronto.
I was about to say they've been doing that for the last, you know, 2/3 of the season, and they're still at the top. So I don't think
That's
that's a
true. That's a
too
fair
bad of a
point.
drop off. Um, yeah. Like I said, I think Toronto's going to be one of those. When we talk about teams that are in or out, I think Toronto's going to be one of those teams that drop out. I
Spoiler
just,
alert.
I think, yeah, I think they got a really tough end draw. And if you look at that like run in at the start of the season, you're like, okay, Red Bull who finished barely in the playoffs last year, Colorado who were dead last in the West, Miami who's playing with a bunch of old guys, and the second they get hurt, they're going to be there, and Chicago, you're jumping for joy. You're like, all right, cool. We may start slow, but Colorado under Chris Armas are Man City reincarnated, I guess, is for lack of a better term. They just win everything all the time. Red Bull are what's the team better than Man City? Real Madrid, yeah. Miami is like Barcelona, and then Chicago is like Chicago. So they've got a tough run into it. Now, I'm not saying that's anything crazy, but just to save the fact that I called this team potentially one of the worst in the league in history, they can't make the playoffs, so they need to drop out. Just uh, you know, we
Just to
talk good
save face
about
a
MLS.
little bit.
We talk good about MLS every week. I've got Daddy Don in my phone, top five, quick, just speed dial. He can help me out. So sorry, Toronto fans, but that's what's happening. DC United, another team that I need out. They get Columbus at home, Nashville away, New England away, and Charlotte at home. Give me a little rundown. What are you thinking?
All right. So for DC, I don't think we talked about this one yet, but I've
Nope.
got them losing at Philly. Home against Columbus, I've got a loss. I think Columbus is just too good, kind of like you said before. At Nashville, I got a draw. I think going to Nashville is going to be a tough trip for them, but I still think they're a better team than Nashville. I think Benteke is a hard man to stop. At New England, I think they get a win there. I think New England's just pretty bad. I mean, they are the ones competing with Chicago right now in the standings, even though they're 2 games in hand. And then we talked about the Charlotte one. I see a draw for that one at home against Charlotte.
So you got them on 5 points.
Yes, 5 points out of their last four.
This was supposed to be something that we were like, you're so stupid. How could you think that was going to happen? And here we are,
Did we go
four for
four for
four.
four?
Four for
Yeah,
four.
let's
Everything's all the
go.
same.
Our standings are going
Um,
to be exactly the same at the
no, they're not. They're officially not. No, listen, you're not wrong there. I think Columbus is a hard beat, home or away. They're going to make it tough. Nashville, they are going to be fighting for, I think, single points instead of like all 3 points. So they'll be tough to beat defensively. You mentioned trying to handle Benteke. They will make sure that is done because DC don't have much outside of that, if we're being completely frank.
Well, I'm not
So
Frank,
if
so
they can, yeah, if
can't
they
I
can,
can't be completely frank.
no, no, be as frank as you want to be, or be as John as you want to be. I don't care. They are going to make sure that that is sorted out. BJ Callahan's got him playing a little bit better, and they might be able to find a way to get a point at home there. New England is capitulating in front of our eyes as their star player and most mid center back in the league are fighting with each other. And we talked about Charlotte already. So now to a team. Oh, it's just Atlanta. We can just put all losses, right?
Well, we can't do that. But we've already officially not matched on this one, so the streak is over,
That's
which
right.
sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, too bad. They go to Philly, they get Montreal at home, Red Bull at home, and Orlando away. I've got a draw at Philly. I think they are going to have, Philly's playing really, really well lately. I think this is a team they can still get a result at, but I think the way Brad Guzan played last night, if he does that again, then they can at least pull like a 0-0 out of it because that dude turned into prime Iker Casillas. When maybe that's only when we play against him. It seems to be every goalkeeper that way. I don't know. Loss at Montreal. I think Montreal are in a good run of form. I think Atlanta defensively were really, really bad, and I think it's a Josef Martinez revenge game. So I'm resting heavily on Josef Martinez there. And we talked about Red Bull, we talked about Orlando already. So I've got them on 3 points to finish the season.
All right, so I've got them losing at Philly. Like you said, I think Philly's in better form and they have the home game. I don't think Atlanta gets anything out of that one. Home against Montreal, I think they get a point out of it. I just think we're in a tough run of form and this team is in desperate need of a rebuild. I feel like we're going to kind of limp our way to the end of the season, whereas normally this should be a game that we can win at home against a team like Montreal if we have all our assets. Like if we didn't sell people, I think we win this game, but with the depleted side, I think we just get a point. Talked about Red Bull. I got them that game as a loss. And then at Orlando, I think they give the fans one last little treat to end the season on another tough season with a win against Orlando. So I've got 4 points in the last 4 games.
Yeah, listen, I mean, either way, that doesn't have them anywhere close, I don't think, for us.
It has them,
Listen, this
well, for
is
me, it has them close, but still out.
yeah. Listen, this Atlanta team, I mean, I watched them try and defend at Red Bull Arena last night, and it looked as bad as my club team that I'm coaching right now. I mean, swings and misses, lazy tackles, just time after time again. You're like when Euro snobs use the MLS isn't good enough for me to watch, like they'll pull up clips of that game because it was abysmal. Like the penalty that we got with 5 minutes left in the game or whatever came because it was a long throw. They let it bounce in the box. Stian Gregerson, who came from France, by the way, tried to clear it out, swings and misses completely, and then Elias Manuel goes to win the ball and gets kicked and is brought down. But I mean, even after they go up 2-1, you're thinking, okay, let's be defensively solid. We get the ball all the way full field switch. Dylan Nealis absolutely posterizes Amador, I think the new left back there, who very good by the way, heads it across goal, and there are four defenders who are just like, cool, that ball's there. And if it hadn't been for Brad Guzan, this game is 6-2. Like, it's not even close. I just don't think that they're very good defensively, and that needs to be a point of emphasis for them going forward next year.
They got a lot of work to do.
That they do. Speaking of a team who's got a lot of work to do, what a terrible run in for Philadelphia to end the year. Atlanta at home, Orlando away, Columbus away, and then FCC at home. Just yeah, pull up the top three of the top four teams in the league right now, and this is going to be tough. And this is why I mentioned earlier that I think that Philly's hot. I mentioned it earlier in a tweet that was like, oh, every year one or two teams that are out of the playoffs get really hot really late and sneak on in, and Philly might be that team. They beat New York City 5-1 away. They beat another team 5-0. Like they were killing it. I think that ends here. So, what do you got?
So I talked about it before, but I think they get to win at home against Atlanta. I think at Orlando they lose. Talked about that one before. At Columbus, I don't think they win that one. That's a very tough game. And then at the end of the season, at home against FCC, I think they get a point out of that one. So I got a draw there.
All right, so you got
So
them on four.
4 points in the last four. Plus, as I mentioned before, as of recording, we haven't seen DC Philly yet, but I have them winning that game too.
Right, so that would put them on 36 to start the last four.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I talked about Atlanta being a draw. I just think that this is kind of like they were peaking and now they're going to drop off a little bit and then they're going to hit this Orlando Columbus FCC and just straight bottom out again. I've got a draw and then three consecutive losses to end the year. I got them on 1 point. I think it's just a tough, tough run in for a team that has been defensively poor and their attack is starting to click a little bit, but you can't be defensively poor against Columbus and FCC, and Orlando will make you pay too. So I've got them on 1 point there. A very sneaky Montreal, who have a pretty decent run into the finals, and a lot of games that we talked about already. They have San Jose at home, currently on pace to be the worst defensive team in league history. Atlanta away, Charlotte away, and New York City at home. Now, we talked about a lot of these games already, so this is going to be really quick. I've got San Jose as a win because, goodness me, are they terrible. I've got Atlanta as a win. I've got Charlotte as a loss, as we talked about already. And I got New York City as a draw, as we talked about already. I've got them on 7 points to finish the year, finishing out on 41.
You got big hopes for Montreal.
I mean, listen, Caden Clark resurgence. Gotta hype the former Red Bulls. Dude's got 2 goals in 3 games or something like that. Dude's back.
I've got them winning against San Jose as well. That is a must win. You absolutely need to win that game. If you don't, that's a big morale hit to not win at home against San Jose. I got a draw against Atlanta, at Atlanta. I've got a loss against Charlotte and a draw against NYC.
So you had
Last
him
three
on
we talked
5.
about already. Yep, 5 points for
Five.
them.
I love the way that you highlighted the San Jose game because if you lose that game, you're done. Like, not only is it going to make it tougher for you to get in, but you shouldn't get in. If you can't beat San Jose at home at this point in the season, where none of them want to play anymore. I mean, Jeremy Ebobisse came out in the press and was like, "This whole project's a disaster. Everybody doesn't want to be here. Like, I can't even tell you what next year's going to look like because I'm pretty sure none of us are going to be here. Like, we don't want to play here anymore. It's an absolute nightmare."
What a
And
mess.
and if you can't take a team that's down that bad and beat them at home with your playoff hopes on the line, you don't deserve to go. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of a team that's down immeasurably bad, let's talk about the future Greg Berhalters, Chicago Fire. I believe that they should just be renamed as the Chicago Triple Gs from now until the end of his tenure, which, as we spoke about on the last episode, if you didn't see it already, could be never. They might sign him to a lifetime contract. So go check that out so you can see what we got. And we'll talk about how they end up at Montreal, home to TFC, at Charlotte, home to Nashville. I believe I will ask you, what do you got?
Talked about it before, but I've got a loss at Montreal, a draw at home to TFC, a loss at Charlotte, and I think at home against Nashville, they also lose that one because it's a bad team. And I think Nashville's got a little bit more momentum going for them right now. I think the momentum carries them in a game where maybe they still have something to play for. So I think they come away with 1 point in their last four.
Oh, baby, we're back.
Oh, we're so back.
I got a loss at Montreal. I've got a draw at Toronto, loss at Charlotte, loss for against Nashville. 1 point as well. Now here's the deal: like what isn't highlighted in the win-loss column. This is a 6-5 loss to Montreal with 5 goals from Tom Barlow. It is a 7-7 draw against Toronto with 7 goals from Tom Barlow, and you can see where this is going. Tom Barlow is winning the Golden Boot. Is basically where this is going.
Well, he's gonna need
I
that
love
many
it.
goals.
I say he's gonna need them all, and he still might not make it. Yeah, the Chicago team's bad. They're really bad, and this goes back to this whole thing. It's like, oh, yeah, Chris Gutierrez or Chris Brady and Brian Gutierrez, like they need to be in the national team and this that. They're not that good, guys. Like, and I get they're not being played with a bunch of solid pieces in front of them, but they're not that good, and they're building their future on players that aren't that good. They just need to blow the thing up, try again.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm so tired. I want Chicago to be good again, man.
Speak for yourself. I
Um,
don't care if they're good or not.
I do. MLS
They're
is
an
better.
Eastern Conference rival.
You don't have a rival. You're Atlanta. Nobody cares about you. You are like,
Orlando's
did
a
you see?
rival.
Oh, you didn't. Of course you didn't, because you're not online anymore. The Matt Doyle shared something that his friend was doing where they are taking like fan opinion polls on who their biggest rival is. And there were all these people who were like, you had the small schools that were pointing to the bigger schools, like, we hate these guys, and there were never arrows coming back because they were so irrelevant. That's Atlanta.
Maybe right now. Prime Atlanta was a rival for plenty of people.
Yeah, and one of those rivals would have been Nashville if they could pull it off, who is our next team. We've got at New England, we've got DC at home, at New York City, and at Chicago. Nashville, with 4 games left, have 3 more away games. They only get 1 game at home. They front loaded all their home games. Does this give them an issue running into the last few games of the season? What do you? Oh wait, no, I go first here. I wore this scarf for a reason because this is a team I think is about to get really hot because this is a very nice run in to end the year. I've got to win at New England because, as we mentioned, garbage. I've got a draw at DC. We talked about them already. I've got them losing against New York City. Talked about that. And I've got them winning against Chicago. That is 7 points to finish the year out on 40. I think the BJ Callahan effect kicks in and they just sneak in. Now, what do they do from there? I'm not super hopeful, but I do like the way they've been playing so far, and I think they have a chance to pull one out here.
All right. Our first like decent disagreement, I would say. Actually, it's really not. It's really just probably one game, but I think this is how crucial I think this game is going to end up being, but I think they lose the game at New England because
Wow,
I think New England makes the most of the home game. And we talked about the rest of these before, but I got a draw against DC, a loss against NYC, and a win against Chicago. So I've got them finishing with 4 points out of their last four.
that's interesting. I think you're putting a lot of faith in New England, who in their last couple of games, 4-0 loss and a red card to Dylan Barrero, who got both of them for dissent within 25 seconds, I think, yesterday. Combine that with a 3-0 loss against Orlando City, 2-0 against RSL, 5-0 win against Montreal, followed up by a 2-2 draw, a couple of 2-2 draws. They are leaking goals for the most part.
Yeah, but a couple of those wins were against teams that are a lot better than Nashville. I mean, sorry, a couple of those losses are against teams that are a lot better than Nashville. Nashville's last 3 games, like you're gonna look at it, you're gonna see 2 wins and a draw, and you're gonna be like, oh wow, they're turning it around. But like you beat Atlanta, who, as you said, looks terrible. You beat Chicago, who we've already talked about, sucks. And you got to draw against FCC, which is a good result. But again, one-off results aren't going to be speaking of form too much. So sure, can they beat New England? Like New England is in that category of Atlanta, Chicago. So I get it. But I think at New England's going to be a little bit tougher.
We shall see. And again, they don't have that Dylan Barrera anymore. I'm not sure they even want to be there anymore. Like I said, I saw that big fight towards the end, and Caleb Porter has kind of lost it. I don't know. I'm not thrilled with it, and it will show in my predictions for New England right here who have to go to Houston. They get DC at home, go to Columbus, go to Miami,
And the Nashville game.
and the Nashville game. Thoughts?
So we talked about it already. I think they get to win against Nashville at home, and then the bad run of form starts. Actually, I think they do get a draw at Houston. Just one of those weird result games. And then I think they lose at home to DC, they lose at Columbus, and they lose at Miami, and they go out with a whimper. So I got them 4 points out of their last five.
Listen, could they pull off a draw at Houston? Maybe. I don't think so. I think Benny Ball's got him playing really well. I don't think that he's going to drop points to a New England side on the road who doesn't want to be there anyway. I have them finishing 0 points in their last 5 games. I think they're gonna FCC 2019 their way out of this and say, okay, see you again next year. God, this team sucks. All right, well, that is our Eastern Conference predictions. So the way I see it, I've got Orlando first, or Orlando fourth, Red Bull fifth, Charlotte sixth, New York seven, and my play-in game 8 versus 9 in Montreal hosting Nashville. Connor, on the other hand, Red Bull in fourth, love it. Orlando in fifth, Charlotte in sixth, New York City in seventh, Philly hosting Montreal in the play-in game. DC just missing out yet again. Toronto just missing out. I also have DC and Toronto just missing out. If you are placing your future bets, I mean, very, very close, but you know who's to pick and who's to avoid.
We only
Let's
have
go
one team
there.
difference, honestly. It's
Isn't that
just
crazy?
Philly and Nashville.
Yeah, because and then the flip of Red Bull Orlando. But I think it's pretty clear cut when you're looking at the MLS standings. You've got 4, 5, 6, 7 are a cut above 8, 9. So it's tough to break into that. I think 4, 5, 6, 7 are set. It's just going to be positioning, and then 8, 9 are going to be the what those last couple teams are playing for.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I agree 4, 5, 6, 7 are cut above. I feel like the only team, and this is just my opinion, I know you disagree, out of 8 through 15 that has a chance to do anything against these teams in the playoffs is Philly. And to me, that's because it's a team that has experience in the playoffs and knows how to get wins in the playoffs. And I think he's on a little bit better form as of late. So I think if it's any of the other teams that win that play-in game, in my opinion, and I'm spoiling my playoff predictions a little bit here, I think they get booted out like immediately.
Well, I think anybody's getting booed out. It's Miami that they have to play after they win the playing game.
That's a good point.
Game.
Didn't even think about that. But I think if anybody has a chance to do something against Miami, for me it's Philly. Otherwise, the rest of
Mhm.
them I think get wiped out in 2 games and go home.
Well, it's a little bit clearer cut in the West. We've already got three teams, Galaxy, RSL, Colorado, who have clinched. You've got Sporting KC and San Jose who are out, leaving just 9 teams remaining. LAFC sitting on 49 points, Seattle on, or rather Houston on 48, Seattle on 47, Vancouver on 46, Portland 44, Minnesota 42, Dallas on 37, Austin on 35, and St. Louis on 31. I think this is a lot more clear cut than the East is. I think it's a little bit more spread out, but we'll still chat about it anyway, because why not?
Why
Want to start?
not?
Want to start with LAFC?
Yeah, I can
Let's
start
do
things
that.
off.
Well, I got to tell you who they're playing first,
Well, all right, sure, go ahead.
because I know
Whatever.
you know, but our listeners might not know. They host St. Louis. They get Sporting KC away. They get Vancouver away, and they get San Jose at home. Maybe the easiest run-in of any team left in the West that hasn't clinched already. What do you got?
So LAFC is in pretty bad form right now. I don't think it will last, but I think the bad form lasts at least one more game. I see a loss at FCC for them. Then I think they start to turn things around. I got a win at home against St. Louis. I think that they'll start to just click a little bit more. That home game, I think, will be a good one for them to kind of build momentum. At SKC, I mean, they're just better than SKC, and SKC is already knocked out. So much more to play for LAFC. I think they get the win on the road. At Vancouver, I think it's going to be a draw. That's a tough game. I think they're a little bit better than Vancouver, but Vancouver's got the home advantage. And then home against San Jose. I mean, maybe that's one of those weird trap games where they somehow don't show up and lose, but I think even if they threw out their youth academy, they'd probably still beat San Jose right now. So that's 100% a win there. So their last five I've got with 10 points for them.
10 points, yeah. Very similar. I didn't include the fifth game. I didn't, even think about it. I do think it's a loss because they've got US Open Cup final Wednesday and then they're traveling on Saturday. So my guess is it's either rotation or what have you. I've got a win at St. Louis, or I got a win against St. Louis, a win at SKC. I've got a loss at Vancouver, just one of those weird like Vancouver at
So
home type
Brian
of
White's going to
things.
score 15 goals and he's going to knock them out.
I mean, listen, you said it, not me, but yeah, he's back in form and they've got more attacking options. And LAFC, I think, you mentioned them not being in great form. I agree that it's not going to last long, but I don't think that they're just going to flip it around and all of a sudden go on a tear. I do think they're going to, like, outside of the San Jose game, I don't think any of these games are going to be blowout. Maybe SKC, but I think St. Louis plays them close. SKC probably plays them close for a while until they run away with it. Vancouver, I think, beats them, and then San Jose, I think they break San Jose's, or they are the team that San Jose breaks the goals against record against. I think they, like, when San Jose plays, I think they get a, like, they pull off some crazy win in their first game. It's like, oh my God, like they had a clean sheet, 5 games left and or whatever, or 3 games left and only 6 goals conceded, and they give up like 1 goal a game against the next two teams whoever they play, and then LAFC drops like 7 on them just for fun. But yeah, I've got them
Just to
on
give that
nine
little
points.
glimmer of hope.
Yeah, be like, oh my God, we're not going to be the worst. We're not going to be the worst. Boom. Here's Denny Bouanga hat trick. And then Carlos Vela comes on and is like, yo, remember what I did to you back in 2019 where I dribbled around everybody and then like chipped it over to keeper? I'm going to do that 3 times. Uh, sorry. Am I getting carried away? I've been tracking that for like the last 4 weeks. Been really excited about it.
I
Um,
could tell.
yeah. Another team that's pretty excited, and again, not in order because of when I prepped this before the games this weekend. We were supposed to record before the games, but whatever. Seattle. They get Houston at home, Vancouver away, Colorado away, and Portland at home. I've got this being another good run in for Seattle. I've got, them playing really, really well as of late. I got a draw with Houston coming to town. I think it's a good matchup between the two. I've got a draw at Vancouver. Don't ask me why. It's just vibes. I think Vancouver are big on the draw train right now, and that would be a good fit for them. I got a loss at Colorado. I think it's a tough place to play, and Chris Armas has them playing really well. And I've got a win against Portland in the derby to finish the season, possibly for maybe home field or playing against whoever the fourth seed is. A lot on the line in that game. So I got them with 5 points to finish the season.
For me, I've got a win at home against Houston. I think the home field advantage will work out for them. They're a good defensive team. It's going to be tough to break them down, especially at home. I think going to Vancouver, I've also got to draw a little bit, also kind of just vibes there. But as I mentioned, I think they're in pretty good form. 3 wins in their last five, and while Vancouver has been playing poorly, I think they're in a little bit better form. I think that gets offset by the home game, so I'm going to go for a draw there. I think they get the win at Colorado. Again, I think Colorado is mainly big in their attack, and I think Seattle's a team that can control that and deal with it. And then Colorado's kind of a mess defensively, so I think that could be beneficial for a Sounders team who maybe struggles a little bit more to put some goals past. So I see them getting a win there, probably in a close game, and then offset that with a home loss against Portland is my prediction for the last game. I think Portland comes through rivalry game to end the season and shows out and gets a close rivalry win there with their playoff hopes potentially on the line there. Or maybe at that point it's playing in versus playoff.
That is
So that's 7 points for me in the last four.
it's bold. It's bold.